On June 25th, 1982, two teams played a World Cup match where, after the 10th minute, nobody tried to score. Not one shot, not one tackle. 80 minutes of passing the ball sideways, while 40,000 fans whistled, burned newspapers, and waved white handkerchiefs of shame. The referee did nothing, because technically, no rule was broken. Both teams got exactly the result they needed, and a third team, 3,000 kilometres away, was eliminated from the World Cup without even playing. That match has a name, the Disgrace of Gijón. And the reason every World Cup group finale, including the ones you'll watch this month, kicks off at exactly the same time, is because of what happened that afternoon. But here's what most fans don't know. The fix was announced in advance, in a newspaper, and FIFA still let the match happen. This isn't just an old scandal, it's the single most consequential match in World Cup history that nobody scored in. It changed the laws of the tournament, it broke an entire nation's heart, and it created the most awkward 11 minutes of television in German history, when a player was interrogated live on air and a commentator told viewers to turn off their sets. To understand how two European giants ended up performing a fix in broad daylight, you need to meet the team they were fixing against. Because this story doesn't start in Germany or in Austria, it starts in Algeria, Spain, summer 1982. Algeria arrives at its first ever World Cup as a punchline. Their opponents in the opening match, West Germany, reigning European champions, packed with superstars, so confident that one German player joked they'd dedicate their goals to their wives and dogs. The German coach said he'd jump on the first train home if they lost. Algeria won, 2-1. It remains one of the greatest shocks in World Cup history. The first time an African team ever beat a European side at the tournament. Algeria then lost to Austria, but beat Chile, finishing the group stage with 2 wins. In 1982, that should have been enough. There was just one problem with the schedule. Algeria had finished all 3 of their matches. Germany and Austria still had one left, against each other, which meant both teams would walk onto the pitch knowing exactly what result would send them both through, and Algeria home. A 1-0 win for Germany. Anything else and one of the giants was out. And the night before the match, a German journalist wrote, almost word for word, "Expect a quiet 1-0 to Germany." The fix was in print before kickoff. Minute 10. Germany scores, Horst Hrubesch, a real goal from a real attack. And then football stops. The Germans pass it around the back. The Austrians decline to press. The ball goes sideways backwards, sideways again. No shots, no runs. The Spanish crowd realises what's happening before the first half is even over, and the stadium turns. 40,000 people whistling in fury. Spanish fans waving white handkerchiefs, the bullfighting gesture of disgust. Algerian fans waving banknotes at the players, accusing them of corruption to their faces. The German television commentator stopped describing the match and told viewers, "What's happening here is shameful and has nothing to do with football." The Austrian commentator went further. He asked viewers to switch off their televisions. His own team was playing. One German fan burned his national flag in the stands. Austria's own team official called it the most shameful day in their football history. And on the pitch, 80 minutes of sideways passes. Final score 1-0. Germany and Austria both advance on goal difference. Algeria, 2 wins, the first African team to ever beat European opposition, eliminated. But the most damning part came after the final whistle, because the players barely pretended to deny it. Algeria filed a formal protest with FIFA that same day. The evidence was a match watched live by millions. The whole world had seen it. FIFA's verdict? No rule had been broken. Teams are not obliged to attack. Case dismissed. Both teams keep their place in the next round. The German press destroyed their own team. One paper ran the match under a single word: shame. West German fans gathered at the team hotel to protest, and in one of the most surreal moments in football television, a German player was confronted on live TV and snapped at the interviewer that they'd come to advance, not to play beautiful football for the audience. Germany, to complete the dark comedy, marched all the way to the final, where they lost. Many neutral fans called it justice, but Algeria's revenge wasn't the final. Algeria's revenge was permanent. Because FIFA, humiliated in front of the world, changed the law of the tournament. From the very next World Cup, in 1986 onward, the final 2 matches of every group must kick off at exactly the same time. No team would ever again walk onto the pitch knowing the precise score they needed. That rule has survived every format change since. And in 2 weeks, when the 2026 group stage reaches its final round, and you see 2 matches kicking off simultaneously in different cities, you're watching Algeria's ghost, still rewriting the schedule 44 years later. There's a strange footnote to this story. In 2014, the 2 nations met again at a World Cup. Germany against Algeria in the knockout rounds. The Algerian players said openly that 1982 was on their minds. They took Germany to extra time and came within centimetres of one of the great upsets before Germany survived and went on to win the whole tournament. The wound never fully closed. In Algeria, Gijón still means betrayal. And Germany and Austria is the match nobody wants to talk about. And with 48 teams at this World Cup, more group permutations, more mathematical scenarios than ever in history, analysts have quietly pointed out something uncomfortable. The expanded format creates more possible situations where a convenient result suits both teams, not fewer. Somewhere in the next 3 weeks, 2 teams may walk onto a pitch knowing a draw sends them both through. Watch what happens in the last 20 minutes, and remember, Gijón. Tomorrow's story is the opposite of a fix. It's about why the greatest player of all time might be walking into the most dangerous World Cup of his life. Why Messi's last dance could end in disaster. Subscribe so tomorrow's case file finds you. The whistles of Gijón lasted 80 minutes. The rule they created will last forever.